Hi there, this is Terry from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is a little different. I'm not showing you a finished project as such. I'm going to show you how to create these beautiful flowers. So let's get started. This is the first flower I'm going to show you how to create, and this is the smallest one of them all, and it's the only one that uses just dies to create it. The dies I'm using are the Magnolia Memory Dies. These are the Magnolia Memory Dies, and they coordinate with the Good Morning Magnolia stamp set. Now you need to use 5 of the dies to create this little flower. The first 4 dies will be cut from white cardstock, and the last little die will be from So Saffron, and you just need 1 of each. My original flower was in Petal Pink, but I'm going to use Rococo Rose to colour this new one, and I'm going to apply the ink using a sponge dauber. So you pick up a little ink, and then you want to start at the base of the petal, and that's where most of the colour will go, and then swipe up from the base towards the tip, and you reduce the pressure when you're doing this so you don't get much ink, you don't get much colour transferring to the petal itself. So apply to the base, then swipe up from the base, and you just do this, you repeat this for each of the petals. Switching to So Saffron ink now, and I'm going to add a little of this colour to the edges of both the centre pieces. All the petals can then be shaped using a bone folder. You want to turn each piece upside down and hold it between your thumb and forefinger, and then you want to run each of the petals between your other thumb and the bone folder. And if you do this just a couple of times, you'll see that the petals will start to curl up. By holding them in the centre, you're supporting all the petals, and this will help stop them tearing. I am going to shape the 2 centerpieces, and to do this you want to work on a foam mat. Now you need some sort of rounded tip tool. It can be anything, a pen. I'm using the lid of my paper piercer. You position that in the centre of the flower piece and then just do a circular motion. So apply pressure and do a circular motion, and this will cause the edges to turn upwards. So it gives it a lovely shape. These 2 pieces can then be layered together. All you then have to do is stack these pieces together. So I like to use multi-purpose adhesive for this because it's a wet glue and it gives you that wiggle room. So if you don't position it correctly straight off, you've still got time to move it around a little bit before it sets. I'm using one of our gold faceted gems for the centre of the flower. And here we have the completed little flowers, one in Petal Pink and the new one in Rococo Rose. I'm now going to show you how to go from this smaller flower to this beautiful big magnolia blossom. I'm going to use the hot air balloon punch to do this. You need to punch out 5 of them from Whisper White cardstock, and then we're going to colour them in the same way. So using Rococo Rose and a sponge dauber, I'm applying the colour to the base first of all, and then I'm swiping up just to add a little onto the main petal area. So the base first and then swiping up. These are then going to be shaped in exactly the same way as we did with the other ones. You need a piece of card that you can build this layer on. Now, the easiest thing to do is to punch out a circle. It doesn't matter what size this circle is, or whether it's scalloped or plain, or even if it's just an odd piece of cardstock that you have. You just want to cover one side with glue, and I like to use wet glue so you can move things around. And then we're going to position the first petal. Now, I always position the first one at the top, and I put the base of it towards the centre of whatever piece of card I'm using. Then I'm going to place the second one, and they overlap at the bottom slightly, but the petals just touch at the side. Then I can do the other side. Again, the petals are just touching. And then I can do the bottom too. Now you may have to add a little bit more glue for the last couple. So that's my last petal, and then because I've used the wet glue, I can look at it, look at the shape and move things around if I want to. I've still got a few seconds of playroom before everything sets, but this one wasn't too bad at all. You can then decide which way up you want to add your smaller flower to this new layer. And then once you're happy, you can add some more glue to the bottom of it and position it. I've got a few other samples to show you, just to show you some variations. Now this one I did in Seaside Spray, and it was made exactly as I've just shown you. But you can also use vellum, and I think this one turned out really lovely. It gives a very soft look to the flower. You have to be careful with the size of the piece you add on the bottom to build your flower. It needs to be quite small so it doesn't show through the vellum. And then just 2 more, another vellum one. I've just added a few leaves to this one, and another Whisper White one. This one's in Petal Pink. And I coloured the leaves differently here. I didn't use the sponge daubers to do these. I used the Stampin' Blends alcohol markers, and I'll just show you quickly how to do this. Now I'm going to use the blends marker, but you can also do it with our normal Stampin' Right markers. So I'm using the dark Petal Pink, and all I'm doing is I'm colouring the base of the petal first of all, and then I'm just flicking the marker up towards the tip of the petal just to add some colour, and that's it. It's really simple to do, so depending on what look you prefer, you can adjust the technique accordingly. Okay, on to the next flower. Now this one is my absolute favourite. I love it. I coloured it with terracotta tile and I love the simplicity of the shape and how open it is. It reminds me of a camellia. To create this flower we need to use the balloon bouquet punch, and you want to punch out 5 of each size balloon. You also need 1 1/2-inch circle. I'm going to colour all of these 10 pieces in exactly the same way as I did all the other petals you've seen me do today. I'm sure you don't want to watch me doing them all, so I'll skip over most of them. For the 1/2-inch circle, I'm just going to ink the edges with So Saffron ink. I'll shape each petal in exactly the same way as I did before using my bone folder. The layers are built in exactly the same way as I showed you before. So I'm covering my circle with glue and then positioning my top petal, then the sides, and then finally the bottom 2. And then once they're all in place, I can adjust the position of them. I have a few seconds playroom before that glue sets. I want to try and make sure that they're all fairly evenly spaced, so I can move them around until I'm happy. The second layer of the smaller balloons is done in exactly the same way. I can then position the smaller balloon layer onto the centre of the larger one. I'm then going to add the 1/2-inch circle to the middle of the flower, and then I can position my jewel. And here are the finished flowers. Definitely my favourite. Okay, now for the last one. I'm going to show you how I went from these flowers to this one. So it's just a little bit fuller in the centre. So all we need extra for this flower are 3 1-inch circles. I'm just going to ink the edges of these with more Rococo Rose. And then, as before, they can be shaped using a bone folder. I've already created another flower up to the point where we left off before, and all I'm going to do is add some glue to the middle, and then I'm going to position these 3 extra petals. So I'm doing these directly onto the flower. I'm not creating another layer to add as such. Then I've got another 1/2-inch circle, and I've inked the edges with So Saffron, and that's going in the middle. And then I can add my gem to the centre. And these are the finished flowers. And here are all the flowers together. My original ones are on the top and the ones I've just created along the bottom. And this one is still definitely my favourite. So you can see that they're very simple to make, fairly quick, and you can do so many different variations. Another variation could be that you combine the 2 styles. So we use the hot air balloon layer underneath our balloon bouquet flower and create a really large, very full flower. In fact, I'll do that and I'll add a photo at the end. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.